If this is your first time here, welcome. This channel exists for one reason: to take the most important research on fat loss, metabolism, and longevity, and break it down in a way that actually changes how you live. Not trends, not hacks. Not someone trying to sell something, just the science, explained clearly, every single week. If that's what you've been looking for, you're in the right place. And the video you're about to watch, it might be one of the most important things you've learned this year. So make yourself comfortable, because we're just getting started. Join the channel, weekly science-backed content on fat loss, metabolism, and longevity. Subscribe now. Science gets things wrong. And right now, longevity science is being completely rewritten. In the field of human longevity, some of the biggest corrections in history are happening. What if I told you your genetics might only control a tiny fraction of how long you live? And what if 1 hour of intense exercise every day isn't fixing your health as you think? Those two things sound impossible. But I'm going to show you exactly what the research says. And it's going to change the way you think about your body. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to real, science-backed strategies for fat loss, metabolism, and longevity. No fads, no guesswork, just the research, broken down in a way that actually makes sense. So if that's what you're looking for, hit subscribe right now. Because what you're about to learn in the next 15 minutes could literally change how long you live. Run for life, healthy snack, inner peace, grow stronger, live well. Your genes control only 10 to 20% of your lifespan. The rest is entirely in your hands, every single day. Not because mistakes are good, but because every time science corrects itself, we get one step closer to the truth. And right now, one of the biggest corrections happening anywhere in science is around longevity. How long you live? What actually controls it? You've probably said it yourself, or heard someone say it. It runs in my family. My dad had it, so I'll probably get it too. There's nothing I can do. And honestly, that mindset made sense, because that's what the science seemed to say. But that idea is collapsing. Large-scale human studies, involving hundreds of thousands of people, have now shown that genetics only account for somewhere between 20 and 30% of your lifespan. And here's the part that's even more remarkable. As the research gets better, that number keeps shrinking. Some scientists now believe it could be closer to 10%. Maybe even less. Think about what that actually means. It means the majority of how long you live is not predetermined. It is not locked in your DNA from birth. It is determined every single day by the choices you make and the environment you live in. That is not a motivational quote. That is what the data shows. One hour of intense exercise cannot undo a full day of sitting. A study proved it, and the results are shocking. Most people, if they exercise at all, think like this: I trained for an hour, I worked hard, I burned calories, I'm done. And on the surface, that sounds like enough. But here's the problem. What are you doing for the other 23 hours? Because new research is showing something that sounds almost unbelievable the first time you hear it. 1 hour of intense exercise cannot undo a full day of sitting. Let me walk you through a specific study that made this crystal clear. Researchers took two groups of people and designed them to burn the exact same number of calories. Group 1 did 1 hour of high-intensity exercise. Group 2 didn't exercise at all. They just reduced the amount of time they spent sitting. They walked more. They stood more. They moved throughout their day. Same calories burned, same total energy output. But completely different results. The group that did the intense workout, almost no improvement in insulin sensitivity. The group that just moved more throughout the day, they improved their insulin sensitivity. They lowered their triglycerides. And they raised their HDL, the so-called good cholesterol. In plain terms, their bodies became better at burning fat, without ever going to a gym. NEAT burns more fat than your gym session, and most people have never heard of it. This is where something called NEAT comes in, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It sounds like science jargon, but the concept is simple. NEAT is all the calories you burn from regular everyday movement. Walking to the kitchen, standing at your desk, taking the stairs, fidgeting, moving around. For most people, this accounts for more total fat burning than structured exercise. Not because exercise doesn't work, but because exercise is limited in time. You can only be in the gym for so long. Your lifestyle, on the other hand, runs all day. And here is the trap that so many people fall into without realizing it. They train hard for an hour. Then they sit for the rest of the day, and they wonder why nothing changes. The workout didn't fail. Their knee collapsed. Exercise is the trigger. Daily lifestyle is the amplifier. VO2 max is the single strongest predictor of how long you'll live. Now this does not mean exercise is useless, not even close, but it plays a specific role. In understanding that role changes everything. Think of exercise as the trigger, and your daily lifestyle as the amplifier. Exercise tells your body to adapt, to build muscle, to strengthen your cardiovascular system, to improve hormone function, but your daily movement determines how much of that adaptation actually gets locked in. One more piece of the puzzle here. There's compelling research showing that occasional high-intensity training, even in small doses, can significantly improve your VO2 max, which is, by the way, one of the single strongest predictors of how long you'll live. And the critical part? It works for both highly active people and completely sedentary people. Because intensity is always relative to where you are right now. What's hard for you is your intensity. What matters is that you occasionally push past your current normal. That's the signal your body needs. Now let's clear up one of the most stubborn myths in all of health science. For years, decades actually, we were told that moderate alcohol consumption was actually good for you. The studies showed a so-called U-shaped curve, where people who drank a little were healthier than people who drank nothing at all. And millions of people used that to justify a glass of wine every night. But here's what happened when researchers went back and looked more carefully at those studies. They found a critical flaw in the data. When you correct for that error, the benefit disappears entirely. The most up-to-date, large-scale analyses involving millions of people now show that even moderate alcohol consumption provides no improvement in lifespan, and higher consumption clearly reduces it. So once again, something we believed for decades. Turns out, it was flawed data, not flawed livers. Small, consistent habits compounded every day are the real formula for a longer, healthier life. So let's bring all of this together, because the picture we've built here is actually very clear. Longevity is not about one perfect supplement. It's not about one magic diet. It is definitely not about your genetics controlling everything. It's about the combination of small, consistent behaviors done every day that compound over time. Move more, sit less. Train occasionally to trigger adaptation. Eat real food. Remove harmful inputs. And understand deeply. Understand that it is never too late to begin, because your body is always listening, always ready to respond the moment you give it something worth responding to. You are far more in control of your lifespan than you've ever been told. That's not hope, that's the science. If there is one thing I want you to carry out of this video, it's this. You are far more in control of your health and your lifespan than you have ever been led to believe. The smallest changes made consistently can produce the biggest outcomes over time. That's not hope, that's the science. Watch the next video and subscribe so you never miss what the research actually says. If you want to go deeper on fat loss, insulin resistance, and metabolic health, the next video is on your screen right now. Watch that one next. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because every week I'm putting out science-backed content that most channels are too lazy to research. You don't want to miss it. Weekly science-backed content, fat loss, metabolism, and longevity. Never miss a video. Subscribe now.